Hey guys, welcome back to Fandom Sage Powers, where we talk comics, heroes, villains, and the Dawn. We are jumping back into X-Force with issue number 12 right now. Why would you choose your country over your people? You are mistaken, Mr. Quire. When I choose my country, I'm choosing myself. I am Russia. You can't beat us. You have much confidence for a dead boy. I admire that. You do not look like much boy, but I can sense there is great power in you. I know that Krakoa has the power to bring you back, but that doesn't mean I can't keep what remains of you for myself. There now. You're all right. I wish that I could let you rest, Sage, but time isn't on our side. The Cerebro sword has been stolen. Krakoa has been data mined. I don't think I can. You will. You must. When I told Healer I suspected you had a concussion and possible skull fracture, he supplied me with this biopack. It will fight for you, so that you can fight for us. I bet you're already feeling worlds better. Am I right? Sage, my left ear won't stop ringing, but I can somehow still hear the oily condescension of your voice. It's completely understandable that you're confused and short-tempered right now, but I'm only trying to help. I'm only trying to do what's right. I know you are, Beast. That could be your motto, but nonetheless, you always manage to sneak in a little wrong. I was thinking you should. I've already tracked all gate traffic over the past few hours and pinpointed an anomaly. And it's as bad as anything you can imagine. When something is diseased or broken, you don't waste time healing it. You carve it away. There is the misleading belief that adaptation requires the patience of millennia, but change comes urgently in times of violence. Xeno will continue to spread disinformation, sabotage Xavier's businesses, and disrupt pharmaceutical routes. But even more importantly, we will fight our enemy biologically by cheating evolution. 2 million years ago, there were several species of man walking the planet. Homo erectus, Homo habilis, Homo neanderthalensis, Homo sapiens, and more. There is room for more. We will continue to sample and graft and splice Homo superior until we create our own new species. The Neanderthal might have developed tools first, but sapiens soon surpassed them with their cunning. Let's make the mutants as irrelevant as the Neanderthal. Irrelevant? Is that why you didn't invite me here? Because I'm irrelevant? Mikhail, how did you find us? I make it my business to know things, including how many meetings Xeno has kept from me. I'm relieved that you're feeding on animals these days instead of men and mutants, Omega Red. But do you feel sated? Truly. The island provides. Only if you give back to it. Otherwise, you're just a parasite. You've come to start something, or to put an end to something. Tom, would you mind? Never no mind about it. I was granted amnesty. I thought we were on the same side. Perhaps. That all depends on your past and present connections to Mikhail Rasputin. I understand your prejudice, but it needs refining. Krakoa is what you should fear, and Krakoa is not humankind. It is a clumsy, demanding infant of a nation. He's coming again, isn't he? He is. He's really that blindly, stupidly loyal to you. That's the way he's built. He doesn't remember. What happened the last time he tried this? Of course he does. But he's better armed this time. You are an anatomical artist, a flesh sculptor and body carver, and for that you have my respect. But I too can alter nature, and I don't require a scalpel. As I mentioned before, your prejudice needs refining. If you really hope to change the world, you need to harness its powers and make them your own. That means working with mutants against Krakoa. Sometimes I worry that you'll get bored here, Peter. When you've seen as much pain as I have, boring is a good thing. But I am not bored. At the end of every day, my hands are filthy with dirt and paint. That's a sure sign I'm a happy man. Is that all you like to do with your hands? Farm and paint? I'm terribly sorry to interrupt the pastoral beauty of this moment, but we have a few questions we're hoping you could answer, Colossus. About the recent security breach, about your national and familial connections. I expected this day would come. Let's go, bub. I'm sorry, Pete. Just a few answers is all we need. Indeed. I'm sure you can explain everything. Ugh! Stay back. We're standing over an aquifer. I can do a lot more than irrigate these crops with it. That's quite enough. Tell your girlfriend to shut off the faucet. Pete, seriously, this is hurting my heart. Nina, please, it's me. Is it? I'd like to think so, but it wasn't too long ago. We were fighting broken mirrors of myself. You're always leaving. Farmers are supposed to stay put. I would like nothing more than to plant some roots. That's something I look forward to when I get back. It's okay, Kayla. I have nothing to hide. One moment, Colossus. Before we go through, I was wondering if you might humor me by putting these on. I realize you can rip through them with not much effort, but it's a new policy. I'm sure you understand. The hell is this? Beast? What are they doing here? What have you done? Our efforts to celebrate mutant kind, to forgive the sins of our individual histories and build a fresh future as a sovereign society is of course commendable, but I can't help but think that it might also be blindly optimistic. By focusing on the hopeful collective, Xavier's dream ignores the selfish impulses of the individual. Here are very relevant fears: pollution, incursion, traitorousness. We are so focused on guarding our gates that we've neglected to realize what we might have locked ourselves in with. I have brought this concern up with Xavier several times, but he rebuffs or dismisses or sometimes attempts to placate me by saying things like, "Oh, Beast, always anxious," and "This is why you're so good at your job." When I last pressed the issue, this was his response. "Because I have everyone here," he said and tapped at Cerebro. "I also trust everyone here," at which time he held a hand over his heart. But we all know this is not a failsafe. Mind wipes and mesmerism and telepathic blocks and I'm sure there are many other tricks I haven't even considered could bypass Cerebro. Jeremy Bentham's Panopticon was not merely a brilliant design for a prison. It was a brilliant insight into the philosophy of control. The central guard tower makes the inmates unsure whether they are being observed, and so they behave accordingly. In much the same way, America's crime rates are significantly down due to doorbell cameras, traffic cameras, cell phone cameras. The want to do wrong will always be in us, but the fear of being seen overrides it. I have a plan, and though it may be controversial and condemned by some, I know it is right. We will detain all mutants with Russian ties, and we will make their detention a spectacle. I don't want to keep this quiet. I want it to be a parade. I recognize this is unfortunate, but it is also the best possible thing we could do for Krakoa. A little fear and paranoia keep people safe. It's possible our citizens may come forward with valuable information about their neighbors. It's certain our citizens will know that being watched is the same as being watched over. My job. That's what I'm doing. If he's innocent, we'll make a spectacle of that as well. You son of a... I am sorry. I am so sorry about this. It's all right. I told you, I have nothing to hide. Get the hell out of here, all of you. Right the now. Maybe after I prove as much, you'll leave me alone. After this, I wouldn't blame you for wanting that. Do you know who's packed onto that island of theirs? Sworn enemies now working as allies, united despite their divisions. Complex societies require complex cooperation. You believe you've been using me for my money. I believe I've been using you for your arsenal. But this relationship of ours, it can be about giving as much as taking. What is this? All the intelligence of Xavier, of Krakoa as a whole, is contained within. How do we access it? That I don't know. But by sharing this, I ask that there be no more secrets, except the ones they keep from us. You have built me an army, but we need to continue to update our arsenal. You managed to partially replicate Domino's genetic sequence. See what you can do with this one. You know I'm not a part of this anymore. I know, Genie. But these are special circumstances. I don't have time for this. Haven't you heard what's happening? We have more than the cerebral sword to worry about. Now or later, you're the only one I trust to figure out the truth. Okay, guys, that was issue number 12 of X-Force. And it seems like we are sniffing and getting closer to finding if there is a mole on Krakoa, if there's a traitor of Krakoa, and it's looking like it might be Colossus, which is shocking and a little upsetting, I'm not going to lie, because Colossus is generally such a good, morally aligned character. Now, there may be some kind of manipulation or something going on that he might not have control of himself, is what I'm actually betting on. That probably has something to do with his author. I say that because there's an info page on the very last page that appears to be a chapter from a short story or something. It's actually telling the story of Colossus and Kayla while they are in the fields of flowers that we saw during this issue. And it describes them talking very much like a novel. It even recounts the exact dialogue up to the point when, and then a voice called out to him saying, "I'm terribly sorry to interrupt the pastoral beauty of this moment," which was Beast kind of blocking the Riz there for a second. Everything is pretty much recounted in a very verbose way, like you were reading a novel, but something is different at the end. The last paragraph before we get to the changes says, "It was Beast. He smiled with condescension. He held out an arm in invitation. He wanted Peter to come with him. He wanted to ask questions. He wanted to dredge up everything Peter had tried to forget, to dig his claws into his still bruised mind. He wanted to take away his sunlit day, this flower-filled field, this quiet moment with Kayla." And this next paragraph is scratched out like it was an edit out of a rough draft. Peter's skin changed in a flash over silver as he armored himself. He became something else then, a Colossus. The sun's reflection streamed across his skin when he charged forward. Beast was big, but he was bigger. He seized his old friend and swept him up and slammed him to the ground once, twice, 3 times, ragdolling his body. Beast cried out for him to stop, but Colossus's fist met his face with enough force to silence him. Blood soaked the ground and the flowers would soon suck the moisture greedily up, reddening their petals like peaches. Again, this is alluding to that author who has also happened to be a mutant. My guess is that he has some kind of probability altering or some kind of ability to push people or influence people by what he writes. If he's writing specifically about a person or an event, he can use his writing and his mutant powers to manipulate the outcome or manipulate how people will act. That's what I'm guessing anyway. But we'll see. That's interesting. That's kind of like the little boy from Once Upon a Time when he became the author and he had that magic quill and he could, whatever he wrote came to life kind of thing. So interesting. I feel like a lot of people are throwing shade at Beast, and rightfully so, because Beast is doing a lot. He is being very McCarthyan, like there are commies and gays everywhere, like lock them up. You know what I'm saying? Like he's doing a lot, and it just came out of left field for me. Beast has always been a very controlling type of person. He wants to control as much as he can in himself, in his body, and his immediate, sphere of influence, which is the X-Men. And he often thinks he is the smartest person in the room. And sometimes that is the case, but not always, because sometimes he doesn't have common sense. Or, it's just like Beast, you could have thought about that a little bit longer and thought of a softer way to handle certain situations, but he just goes to the extreme to get, the data or the information that he needs as quickly and efficiently as possible, which is basically his modus operandi. So regardless of who he hurts or offends, he's okay with it. He's like, they'll forgive me because, or not, he don't give a he don't care. because at the end of the day, Xavier has given him this loophole, this out by saying everything you do is for the good of mutant kind and Krakoa. And that's all he needed. It was like a blank check. And I said this before, that justification for your actions gives people a wind in their sails. Like, it pushes them farther than maybe they were ever willing to or thought they were willing to go before, because they have legitimate justification, very similar to certain current events of people getting power and others justifying what they're doing, but it still doesn't make it right. So they have rounded up everybody that has ties to Russia. If you were born in Russia, did business with Russia, if you like white Russians or Russian dressing, I don't know, but you're going down. They done drag poor Jean back into it, and Jean is really like, she don't want to be in this mix no more either. She is over X-Force. She is like, I'm done. But she also has gotten the news of what's happening in Otherworld, and the start of the X of Swords crossover event is kind of starting now in all the other book series. So when she mentions to Wolverine that there are other things going on, that's what she's alluding to. But it really shouldn't take Jean long to, comb through whatever memories. It might be a little difficult if this author mutant is able to cover his tracks in some sort of way that is not as easily traced. But even that in itself leaves evidence, like something's been patched here and it's just like too smooth or too perfect or something. And they'll know that they have struck gold or in the right place, or, they're barking up the right tree, and continue to work on that. But yeah, Beast is crazy. He was getting shaded. A freshly concussed, possibly skull-fractured Sage pretty much bred him to the floor and did her assignment at the same time, which was hilarious. She's like, it's already done. Where she said, you always manage to sneak in a little bit of wrong. Baby, she said that like an old evangelical mother. She got him together. Wolverine was definitely not using the audience when they came back to Krakoa with Colossus and these manticles, or whatever they're called, and these plant manticles, these planticles. And I'm starting to question whether he could really break out of them, or he was just saying that to ease him into it. Like, Beast is just so messy. I don't know what is going on in that man's mind at any given moment. Beast is definitely on the side-eye list of people that you need to watch side-eye. Like, what? Just double check back with him. What is he doing? Okay. Is he doing what he said, or is he doing extra? He's doing extra. Okay. That's the kind of, it's just like, Beast, come on now. Are we going to have surveillance on you? You've already tried to ascend an entire country. I don't know if you tried to, but it was because of your actions that a whole country was nearly pretty much freaking Control-Alt-Deleted off the map and like taken over by a hostile plant, which could have also destroyed Krakoa if it had continued to spread. But you were going to hide that fact that you had anything to do with it until you got caught. Jean caught you. Jean got you. Not today. Not today, baby. So pulling Jean back into this is kind of funny. And you see that Beast isn't there at the end when Wolverine asks her to help out. So, I'm sure he's going to keep a wide berth from her. All in all, I've really enjoyed X-Force thus far. I want to see what this mystery unfolds to be and what the ultimate consequences are after everything is revealed. And going forward, what does the team look like? And poor Quentin, I almost forgot, poor Quentin is continuously getting unalived. Like, literally, he's gotten unalived like 8 times. But he did come through in a pinch and wrote Mikhail as he was being dragged away to be spliced and diced up and used as genetic fodder. He managed to, send a message so that he could alert the X-Men and be found, or I guess proof of death at this point, because I'm sure he's not going to be, child, poor thing, poor little Tink. Domino did raise a good point, though, that during their last mission together, they ran into a bunch of semi-facsimile, some doppelganger-ish looking people that looked like Domino a little bit. So they were using her DNA, grafting it, and trying to pretty much replicate her genetic code to give other baseline humans her probability-altering powers. So, and it worked. And it worked to a degree, because we saw that one chick that had her powers was pretty good. She was doing really well until the real Domino got her together, because, it's probably only a portion or a shadow of the real source of the power. But even that is quite formidable in a world where, most people don't have powers. So, I mean, would you choose not to have powers or to have a diluted version of somebody's powers? I'd rather have the dilution. I'll take the watered down Pepsi. I don't know. I just like, come on, versus being thirsty. Guys, thank you so much. If you enjoyed this episode, please give me that thumbs up. Don't forget, I do have memberships available. If you're interested in joining the crew for real, please check out my page in the join section. You get custom badges, custom emojis, custom wallpapers. You get access to content days and days and days and days earlier than everyone else. And you support me and my endeavors as I continue to try to entertain the masses with my love of comics, X-Men, and all that good stuff. So thank you again for watching, and I will catch you in the next issue.